Well, it's time for a conclusion of the bear story in Wells. And what's happened is the conservation officers have came yesterday and set up a trap. Currently the bear is in the trap right now. They will come pick him up, take him out of town, and destroy him today. He will die. Sketched out. Big moose. Getting angrier. Now if you jump off the roof. There she goes. You never know what can happen. Things are going on, you know. Here she comes. That's pretty close. And I'll talk to you in a few minutes about what's happened here, you know.
I called RAP right away and reported him to let him know that he's in the cage so that he doesn't have to spend too much time in there. And that way he's gone and he's not a public disturbance anymore. People are going to be going to have a looky-loo. So.
Ian, talk to us about the bear.
The bear's been caught, unfortunately, due to the fact that the bear has been consuming human garbage and is now completely habituated.
He's a human, yeah.
It has to be destroyed.
When the bear came around, I was busy fighting fire. I wasn't in town. By the time I got home last fall, he was already beginning to show signs of habituation. You being all sketched out, hair on your end. That's the problem. You're gonna get shot. Then the time before that, people were acting with fear towards him. They would see him and they would either take a picture or back off and not make any contact whatsoever, right?
Back sooner when somebody said, well, they were surprised that they could smell anything through all that rain. And I said, oh my God.
There was a general culture of not being ready for this kind of thing to happen. Yeah, they don't know a thing about a bear then, do they? It had been so long since something like that happened in Wells, since a bear came into town and got habituated, that first of all, there was a general not ready for it, no plan in place. And this isn't just with Wells, but this is with communities everywhere. So what does it mean to have a plan in place? To, as a community, take responsibility. Maybe it means having a couple people appointed whose job it is to confront the bears, or when they come to town, or animals in general, be aware of what's going on with the wildlife around town, have a community plan. Be ready as a community or as a neighborhood, as a block, to organize each other, get on the phone and say, hey, this animal's in my garden. We need 5 people to go and scare it out. That's right, keep going. That's right, keep going. And you seen, as soon as I showed up to town, the thing I started doing was immediately putting pressure on the bear to move. That rock just happened to hit something that made a noise. That helped. I tried to herd him the direction I wanted him to go. And with success did that. However, I was the only one doing it for most of the time. I think more people sort of got in on the idea this spring when he came back.
Curtis and I went outside and we were just had campers pull into the campground. So we wanted to go warn them, but the bear came up behind the barn and we just got loud and crazy and trying to chase him up to the top of the campground in the overflow lot, trying to get him onto low heat because we had tree planters in the overflow lot. So we're telling them to make loud noises and we got him out of the campground.
Get on. Yeah. Keep moving. There was a definite point last fall where we began to lose the battle to chase this bear out of Wells. It was much the same sort of thing. People named him. They took pictures of him. And so it sort of began with, there was a woman here who she believed she was a shaman. And she got a hold of some moose hides, some pelts, and she decided that she was going to hang them and cure them up on the crescent just over here. And so that bear got them, took them down over here, chewed them up and ate them. And after that, almost all of my interactions with the bear happened in this general area right here. So that was a point in which, instead of meeting him there or on this side of town or over here and finding him, I was finding him going to the crescent. So there was a moment in which, once he got a hold of that pelt, and she told me this, she told me, I don't understand it. I prayed over the pelt for protection over the hide. I'm like, ah! And it's not your fault for not knowing, but we can change this in the future, and it has to be different in the future. This can't fucking happen again. This is bullshit. Okay, I'm just going to tell you straight up. Naming the bear, being scared of the bear, avoiding him, when the whole town should just put the run on him in the first place. Should have been after him with pots and pans try to make this bastard go. Get out of here! Get out of here! Get on! Ah! 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 Get out of here! No, don't go up that fucking tree. Get! Really, it was just a matter of time before something like this happened, before one hung around town long enough to get himself into enough trouble, to get habituated, to get stubborn enough to become a problem bear at the wrong time of year, right? So, this was bound to happen eventually. Here, it happens all over the place. I think there was something like 600 bears shot last year in British Columbia. How many of those could have been deterred before they developed that habituated behavior? So my thing is, right now people are saying things I've seen, you know, don't paint us all with the same brush. It wasn't my garbage. And then, you know, he's been into people's garbage. He got into the garbage at the apartments then, Norma?
Yeah, you did.
You know, I had a picture last week of him getting into a vegetable oil container, and whoever that was, I'm not picking on you for that, because at the same time that I posted that, another person posted that he was over by Gold Quartz, right where we just seen him basically eating garbage there. So, you know, this has been going on, okay?
Tore the door off almost, and yeah.
So that's why the conservation officers set the trap up there.
That's right.
That
They
was-
knew he'd be back.
That was the last place he got into trouble.
Yeah.
I was trying to scare him away. I'm hearing people say things like that. I don't accept that. Because I could say that. It wasn't my garbage.
Yeah.
I could say I've been chasing him, trying to put the scare on him. I've been trying to educate the town. When I say we failed the bear as a community, we have to acknowledge ourselves as a community,
100%.
right? So we are, no one gets to be blameless. No one gets to say it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
Because when I say the community failed him, it doesn't matter. You can't separate yourself from the community. If you think you're separate from the community, then you're not part of the community. So we lost the initiative with this animal. At some point it was clear, and I was like, well, my kids live here too. What has to happen is gonna have to happen. It was preventable. It's preventable in a lot of cases. And we can't really just sit there and point the finger at one person or two people, or you have to sort of look at the general culture of readiness of your community to have a plan to know how to respond to having animals without being afraid of them, without letting that fear develop into them getting comfortable in town. That's when you're going to start winning the battle right there, is before that animal gets used to you, move it on, scare it off, right? This bear was already by that point feeling pretty sure that most people weren't going to do much to him.
That wasn't even 12 hours. So this set the trap up just afternoon and caught him at, well, maybe a little over 12. It was 4:30 this morning.
There's also the mistaken belief that we can relocate them,
You can't move them, they just come back. Or they starve to death in the wilderness now that they're used to human food.
trap them, and then move them somewhere else. But no, once they've learned where to find food, they're so smart and they're so good at getting around in the wilderness, they've been known to go 700 kilometers to come back to a food source, okay? And the problem with that myth is it leads to people sort of thinking, well, it's not really my problem. We don't have to do anything about him. He's here. If he becomes a problem, the conservation officers will come and take him away. And if he's a really bad problem, they'll shoot him. But no, once he gets that behavior of getting into garbage sources all over the town and breaking into people's vehicles and things, there really is no hope for that bear in the long run. You know, eventually he started giving me some back talk too. Like you see when we were in the cage there, he's in the cage and he's hissing at me a little bit and huffing and puffing. Well, he was doing that when he was in that tree last week too. So he's getting more defensive and more comfortable standing his ground. And I knew at that point it was done. Get out of here! Keep going! No! The first time they have contact with an animal like this, they have these sort of feelings like how lucky or how wonderful we get to live here where the animals are, and maybe we can cohabitate with them. But that's the myth, is we can't cohabitate with them. We can't have them coming into the inner circle of your community and doing what they will. It's bad for the bears, and it often sets them on the wrong path. So you don't get to say it's so-and-so's fault when the community fails an animal like that, right? You got to take responsibility as a community. The unfortunate reality is when they become a problem like that, it's too late. So we all failed him. I tried, but I failed. We failed him. And I'm very sad about it. I'm the guy who's out when I'm fighting fire. Sometimes I'm putting out a little hot spot and there's some grass around the edge and some ants. And I feel good about myself because I saved those ants and I saved that grass. You know, that's who I am. And that was why I took such initiative to go after the bear in the first place, because I really wanted to not see this happen. But better this than something much worse happening. You know, we can be thankful that nobody's kids were hurt. No one was hurt. The bear, for quite a while, he behaved enough. A real corner was turned in the last week or two where he decided he's staying and he's not going to take no for an answer more and more. He was becoming resistant to moving on. So we failed him. I failed him. No community plan. No one, you know, and part of the thing was like when I first started going after him last year, I might have done crazier things that would be more successful, but I was concerned that people in the community would think that I was crazy because there's so many new people here, because people seem to have such appreciation for the animal. Even in that way, I could have probably done much more than I did. And for that, I feel like I failed in that sense. I was too worried about what humans would think when I really needed to be worried about what the animal would think. So the correct bear. He's not happy about it. He shouldn't be, because he's about to die today. And that ends that. In the future, I think we could probably not have this happen as likely, you know, and if we have a grizzly bear coming to town, well, then we have a whole different conversation to talk about. All right, that's me, Joey on the Cariboo Weather Dude. See you next time, everybody. Bye for now.